Why you can't outwork stress. You believe that if you just work harder, stress will disappear. Your clients will stop demanding, your team will stop faffing and failing, and your business will run smoothly. But here's what I've learned after 22 years in the corporate world and 10 years working with leaders in crisis. Stress doesn't disappear when you try to outwork it. It multiplies. And in this video, I'm going to explain the mechanism behind why this happens and, more importantly, what to do about it. Let me start with what happens inside your body when stress hits. When you experience stress, your nervous system activates a survival response. Your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline, and your focus narrows. Your energy spikes, and in that moment, working harder feels like the natural solution. It feels like you're in control. It feels like you own the progress. But here's what the research actually shows us. Stanford University conducted a study that found 80% of high performers respond to stress by increasing their work intensity. They believe that effort equals more control. But here's what the data actually revealed. This approach works for about 6 to 8 weeks. After that, the system collapses. I worked with a CEO who was managing a crisis in his company. His instinct was to work 16-hour days. He stopped sleeping, he cut out exercise, he consumed copious amounts of coffee and energy drinks, all to help him maintain that pace. For the first month, it worked. He solved the immediate problem. His team were impressed, and he felt like he was winning. But by month 3, something else had shifted. He couldn't think clearly anymore. He was making worse decisions. His team were being burnt out by his level of intensity, and the stress he was trying to escape had actually multiplied. He was more stressed, not less stressed, despite working even harder than he ever had. The problem isn't working harder in itself. The problem is that your nervous system can't distinguish between productive stress and destructive stress. When you push harder, you're sending a signal to your body that the threat is still active. Your nervous system stays in survival mode, and survival mode is not sustainable. It's designed for short-term threats, not long-term activation for performance. So here's what I want you to do differently. Stop measuring stress by the amount of work you're doing or the pressure you feel you're under. Start measuring the state of your nervous system. If you're working hard, but your sleep is broken and your digestion is off and your mood is flat and your thinking is foggy, you're not outworking stress. You're deepening it. You're making it worse. And the harder you push, the deeper it goes. Now, this leads us to the second trap that catches almost every high performer, the discipline trap. Because you're a high performer, you have discipline, you have willpower, and you believe that discipline solves everything. But here's the truth. Discipline is a tool designed for execution, not for nervous system regulation. You can't discipline your way out of a stress response. The American Psychological Association found that 73% of people try to push through stress without addressing the root causes, and they experience a relapse within 6 months. The stress returns often stronger than before. They get a temporary win, they feel good about their discipline, and then everything comes back worse. I had another client, a younger managing director, who was running on fumes. He was exhausted. His stress was through the roof. So what did he do? He tried to outwork the situation by adding more structure, more routines, and more discipline. He implemented the 5 a.m. wake-up routine, cold showers, gym sessions, productivity systems, meditation apps. And for a while, he felt like he was winning. He felt like he was taking control. But what he was actually doing was adding more pressure, more demand, and more load on a nervous system that was already overloaded. He was trying to use discipline to fight his own biology. And eventually, the system gave out. He had a complete breakdown and he couldn't get out of bed for about 2 weeks. Here's what he learned when we reflected on that experience. Yes, discipline is about doing hard things, but when your nervous system is dysregulated, the last thing it needs is more hardship. It needs rest, it needs safety, and it needs regulation. And these things cannot be demanded or disciplined into your existence. They have to be built systematically and they require a different approach. So replace the question in your head. Stop asking, how can I work harder? Start asking, what does my nervous system need right now? The answer may be more sleep. It may be to breathe deeper. It may be to stop sooner and rest more. It may be connection with another human being. And it might just be some quiet time in nature. But I can tell you this, it won't be more work. Now, I want to introduce you to something that absolutely changed my understanding of stress management completely. And it isn't about mental health. It's about appreciating your 9 essential emotional needs. You only have 9 emotional needs that need to be met. And when these aren't being met, your nervous system stays activated. And when your nervous system is activated, no amount of work will fix it. No amount of discipline will fix it. No amount of output will fix it. Research in neuroscience shows that when emotional needs go unmet, cortisol levels remain elevated. This creates a state of chronic stress that actually reduces your cognitive performance by up to 30%. You're literally becoming less capable the harder you work. You're working with a handicap that you've created. So what are these 9 emotional needs? Let me walk you through them. The first one is a sense of security. Do you feel safe and secure in your role? Do you feel stable? The second is a sense of autonomy or control. Do you have control over the decision-making processes, or are you being controlled? Are you able to choose how you spend your time? The third is the need for attention. Do you give enough attention to those who are important to you in your life? And in return, do you receive enough attention? Attention is really nutritional. The fourth is an emotional connection to someone else. Do you have at least one meaningful relationship where a person won't judge you, or with people who you know, like, and trust? The fifth is a sense of status. Do you feel valued for what you do? And do you feel valued and respected for the contributions you make in your relationships? And the sixth is a sense of community, which is where we form our relationships. Do you have something outside of work and family, something that excites you? It may be a social group, sporting activity, etc., that you're part of, that are something bigger than yourself. The seventh is a sense of meaning and purpose. Does your life have meaning and purpose for you? The eighth is privacy. Do you have enough quiet time in which to put your life into context and to be able to just reflect? The ninth and final one is a sense of achievement and accomplishment. Do you know what success looks like for you? Do you feel like you're growing and becoming a better version of yourself? Because you see, when one of these needs goes unmet for an extended period, your nervous system perceives that lack as a threat, and a threatened nervous system can't be outworked. I have a client who's a friend, actually. He's also a founder, and he lost his autonomy when his board began making all the decisions. His investors were demanding significant changes, and he felt he was losing control over the direction of his own company. So, what did he do? Well, he tried to outwork the feeling of powerlessness by taking on more responsibility, working longer hours, and trying to prove his value through sheer effort. He thought if he just worked hard enough, he could regain control. What he really needed was his autonomy to be restored. And once we addressed that need directly, his stress dropped dramatically without him working any less. In fact, he was actually more effective because his nervous system wasn't fighting him. He had clarity and he regained control again. So here's your action step. Think about your emotional needs this week. Which ones are going unmet? Write them down. Don't try to outwork the answer. Address the unmet need directly. If it's autonomy, find a way to reclaim control in your environment. If it's connection, invest more time in your relationships. The work doesn't solve this. The nervous system regulation solves this. Now, here's another area where most people fail in their attempt to manage stress. They try to think their way out of it. And yes, then they try to discipline their way out of it. But you can't think your way out of a biological problem. You have to reset your nervous system biologically. And this is where most high performers fail because they try to solve a biological problem with willpower. Let me give you the data. Studies show that corrective breathing patterns can lower cortisol by 25% in as little as 5 minutes. Sleep deprivation can increase cortisol by 40%. And dehydration impairs cognitive function by 20%. And these aren't minor factors. They're foundational. They're the building blocks for everything else. The biological reset protocol has 4 pillars. The first pillar is breathing, specifically extending the exhale during breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system. This is the rest and digest system. This is the opposite to the stress, fight or flight system. The second pillar is quality sleep. It's non-negotiable. Consistent sleep times signal safety to your body. Your nervous system learns that it's safe to reset. The third pillar is hydration, a minimum of 2 liters a day, not tea, not coffee, not alcohol. This is functionally different. It's not a small thing. The fourth pillar is nutrition. Feeding your microbiome correctly changes your stress response at a neurochemical level. Your gut health is directly related to your brain health and your stress response. I have a client who is a senior executive managing a global team across multiple time zones. And she was stressed, fatigued, making poor decisions. She thought she needed productivity tools. She thought she needed better systems. What she actually needed was sleep. We started a non-negotiable sleep timetable, 7 hours consistent every night. Within 2 weeks, her stress markers had dropped. She was thinking much more clearly. She felt much more creative. She was actually more productive working 8 focused hours than she had been working 12 scattered hours. The work didn't change. The nervous system reset changed everything. So here's what I'd like you to do this week. Start with one pillar, just one. Don't try to do all 4, just pick one. If you choose breathing, practice 5 minutes of extended exhale breathing. That's breathing in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 8. If you choose sleep, set a non-negotiable bedtime and stick to it. no blue light, good sleep hygiene for the hour before bed. If you choose hydration, track your intake at 2 litres of water a day. If you choose nutrition, add 1 microbiome supporting food to your diet, a fermented food, some fibre, or some whole foods. 1 pillar, master 1, and then build from there. But here's the deepest reason that high performers struggle and suffer with stress. It's not just the biological factors, although they contribute. This is called identity drift. The feeling that you've lost clarity about who you are and what you stand for. So you try to prove it through output, but output without being aligned to your identity is just busy noise. You're working hard to prove something to someone, and you don't even know who or what or why anymore. Over the last 10 years, I've recovered 15 people from suicidal ideation caused specifically through stress, anxiety, and depression. The common thread wasn't that they worked too hard. It was that many had lost their identity. They were performing a role that no longer matched who they were anymore. The harder they worked to prove their worth in that role, the more internal conflict they created. They were fighting an internal battle with themselves. And their breakthrough came when they reconnected with their actual identity, their actual values, and their actual purpose. Not the identity that they thought they should have, not the role they thought they were supposed to play, but who they actually were. When you know who you are, stress becomes manageable. You have a filter. You can say no to demands that don't align with who you are. You can choose work that matches your identity, and you can operate with clarity instead of desperation. And here's the question I want you to sit with. Are you working hard to build something you believe in, or are you working hard to escape from something you're afraid of? Because if it's the latter, no amount of output will fix it. You'll just keep running faster and faster, and the thing you're afraid of will keep chasing you. Spend 30 minutes this week answering this question. What is my actual identity? Who am I? Not your job title, not your role, not what's on your business card. Who are you when you're not performing? What do you actually value? What kind of leader do you actually want to be? Write it down and then measure your current work against it. How much of your work aligns with who you actually are? How much of it is noise? How much of it is you trying to be someone else? So let me bring this all together for you. You can't outwork stress because stress isn't a work problem. It's a nervous system problem. And your nervous system doesn't respond to more effort. It responds to safety, it responds to regulation and alignment. It responds to your 9 emotional needs being met. It responds to your biology being supported: hydration, sleep, nutrition. It responds to your identity being clear. So this week, I want you to start with 1 biological reset protocol. Just pick 1 pillar: breathing, sleep, hydration, or nutrition, and commit to it. You'll notice the difference within 7 days. And I'm not exaggerating here. Your sleep will improve, your thinking will clear, your mood will shift, and your nervous system will start to regulate. Now, I've also created a personal emotional needs assessment, and you can have that as my gift. Comment on this video. I'll let you know how you can get your personal link. It'll show you exactly which of your 9 needs are unmet and at what level and where to focus first. And this is the foundation for sustainable stress management. It's not more work, it's not more discipline, it's building a solid foundation. And I really do want to hear from you. I'd love to know which of these 5 points resonates most with you. Are you trapped in the stress response cycle, working harder and harder and getting nowhere? Are you caught in the discipline trap, adding more structure, more control to an already overloaded system? Or have you lost clarity on your identity, maybe, and you're not even sure why you're working so hard anymore? Let me know in the comments or by DM your answers, as this helps me to understand what you need next. And finally, hit the subscribe for the channel, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. I release weekly videos on nervous system regulation, leadership clarity, and sustainable performance for high performers like you. You don't have to figure this out alone. There's a way through this, and I'm here to show you. You've been trying to outwork stress for long enough. It's time to try something different.